Merhabalar herkese. Hepiniz IEFTalks Webinarları'na hoş geldiniz. Bugün dünyanın en iyi mühendislik üniversitesi Imperial College London'a nasıl kabul alınırı Andy'den dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı soru cevap bölümünden yönlendirmeyi unutmayın. Yes, Andy, the stage is yours now.
Amazing, thank you so much. I was trying to take a quick drink before I started. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name's Andy, and I work at Imperial College London. So I'm going to talk, give you a kind of introduction to studying at Imperial, a little bit about who we are, and a little bit about applying to both undergraduate and postgraduate courses. Who are we? We are a world-leading university focusing in very specific areas, so focusing on science, technology, engineering, and medicine. And also we have a business school as well. I'll go through those in a little bit more detail. It's something that we call STEMB or STEM occasionally, which doesn't really exist, but it kind of encompasses what we do and how we go about things. What do I kind of mean when I say world-leading? Also, my shadow is very weird here, but hopefully everyone can hear me. What do I mean by world leading? What I mean is that you will find Imperial towards the top of kind of any league tables that you look at. Currently, we're second in the world in one of the leading kind of world rankings of universities, the QS World Rankings. We're second in the world there. But regularly, you'll find us towards the top, kind of in the top 10 of universities all around the world, by subject, by department, by kind of any way of looking at universities. So that's what I mean when I say that we're a world-class institution. And you can see on the screen some of the areas we kind of improved to come second in this year. And obviously, we're looking to carry that on. But a little bit of information about who we are, a tiny history lesson. I'm not going to go on very long about kind of our history, but we've been around in various kind of in current form, since about 1907, or mostly current form, when some various colleges joined together to form Imperial College London. Then in 1997, a similar kind of merger of medical schools gave us our School of Medicine, or our Faculty of Medicine, and then we added the kind of business school, became a full faculty in 2003. Before that, it was a slightly separate entity. We're about medium-sized in terms of UK universities, so around 23,000 students all told, and around 8,000 staff. I mentioned that we're a specialist institution, so we teach in only 4 faculties. So what I was talking about STEMB earlier. Those 4 faculties are engineering, science, medicine, and business. So SM, E, and B of the STEM that we're talking about, and technology fits across a few of them. It's got their 9 campuses. We'll have a look at a map in a second. 2 main campuses, plus some kind of hospital campuses and some specialist bits. I'll show a map in a second so you can get a bit more of an idea. We've got over 100 different undergraduate courses and over 200 postgraduates. Around 100, it depends slightly year on year where we get these figures, 145-ish countries represented, a few more at the moment. And we are very competitive. So I've got the undergraduate figures there, 9.6 applications per place. Varies massively by postgraduate program and department, which is why we don't use the figure, but similarly competitive at postgraduate level, in that we get more applications for all of our courses than we have places every single year. So we are a kind of selective, competitive university. I don't show a map. It's quite difficult to kind of to show things, but you can see in the center of the map. I don't know if you can see my mouse pointer. Oh, no, don't do that. There we go. You can see my mouse pointer. I'm pointing at our South Kensington campus. If not, it's roughly in the middle, just below Hyde Park. That's our main campus. That's our oldest campus. That's the one you can kind of see in the background of my photo. That you can see at the moment. The other campus is off kind of north and east. It's actually west, which is about top and left of where the map is going. North and west. What am I talking about? North and west. In White City. That's what's called our deep tech campus. There are a lot of postgraduate programs are kind of taught there. A lot of our research institutes are out there. Little bits of undergraduate, but not very much. The other big blue dots that you can see on the map are kind of mostly hospital campuses. If you're particularly interested in ecology, you're down south and west outside of London. You can see it says Silwood Park campus. There's also a Middlesex Hospital campus off to the left that you can see. out there as well. But two main campuses in South Kensington and in White City. Some lovely pictures of both of them. You can see there, as they say, White City is our deep tech campus, so that's very kind of tech focused. A lot of kind of biotech labs are out there as well. So some undergraduates use labs out in White City, and it might get used a bit more for some other courses coming up, but mostly at the moment postgraduate courses. South Kensington, our home where pretty much all of our undergraduate and a lot of our postgraduate teaching happens around there as well. In terms of research, again, I'm not going to go too much into kind of history or kind of wider things that we're doing, because I know you're interested in what you can come and study with us. But we are one of the leading universities in the world, as I said, but also for research. So various ways of measuring universities' research output. So particularly if you're interested in masters or research study, that's very important. And we are kind of one of the leading, if not the leading UK university for kind of research and things like that. We're also University of the Year for graduate employment for the second year running in the Sunday Times guide. So, you know, our students go on to get jobs and get very good jobs soon after they graduate from Imperial. And we're also one of the leading universities, particularly in London, for student satisfaction. So our students tend to be happy with their time at Imperial, which again I think is kind of as important as all of the academic and all of the other metrics that I've been talking about. So I said, kind of feeding onto that, our teaching is also kind of rated gold. That's the highest that you can get in that particular metric. So our teaching is also very, very kind of highly thought of, very, very highly regarded. So, you know, we tend to be very good at pretty much everything that you would want from a university at both undergraduate and at postgraduate level. Give you a snapshot of some of the things that our amazing academics and our amazing researchers are kind of working on at the moment, looking at kind of helping businesses and policymakers and kind of large multinationals look at their kind of carbon impact. So looking at kind of energy modeling tools to help understand how that is going to work, both from a kind of governmental and a kind of organizational point of view. We're looking at kind of vaccine hubs. This is just a snapshot. Looking at vaccine hubs to kind of effectively improve the manufacturing of vaccinations and vaccines around the world, making them kind of more easily accessible to more parts of the world, particularly those parts of the world that are kind of vulnerable to infectious diseases. And I'm not going to talk too long about the physics one. My background is not in physics. I am, if anything, a social scientist. The physics I do not understand, but there's some incredible kind of research that you can go and you can have a look at if you're interested, looking at kind of gravitational waves, dark matter energy, the nature of time, lots of things that go straight over my head as a non-physicist, but do have a look. I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of what our faculties do and what you can study within them. Again, I'm not going to go into loads of depth about this because we only have half an hour of me talking and then some questions. So this is kind of a snapshot and overview, and I would encourage you to go away and have a look at our website for a more detailed breakdown of what courses you can study at undergraduate and at postgraduate level. So Faculty of Engineering, the thing to know is that all of our departments, even at undergraduate level, in the Faculty of Engineering, indeed all of our faculties, are specialist and separate. So particularly at undergraduate level, that means that all of our courses at undergraduate level will be specialist courses, most of them 4 years, but you will be studying just the type of engineering that you want to do. There is no kind of general engineering program. There is no undergraduate or a postgraduate level. There's no kind of general engineering, and there's little movement between kind of different branches of engineering. So we're really looking for people that are kind of specialist and know exactly what kind of engineering that they want to do in the future. So you say lots of different kind of engineering departments. The interesting thing I suppose to note as well is that computing is in there. Computing for us is an engineering subject. So particularly at undergraduate level, if you're interested in computer science, you will look more broadly at computing as a kind of engineering from a both kind of engineering of hardware and software perspective. An idea of some of the things, again, we can't really go into too much. We do have a flight simulator. People get very excited about that. There's a flight simulator in aeronautical engineering. We have hydrodynamics labs. Again, aeronautical, bit of mechanical engineering, carbon capture plants, looking at kind of various different cross-engineering programs. There's various wind tunnels across campus used by both mechanics and by aeronautical students as well. There's loads of exciting kind of things going on. Faculty of Natural Science, chemistry, quite easy, particularly undergraduate chemistry, life sciences, maths and physics, all of which you'd expect to probably find in a science department. And then there's also a kind of slightly cross sciences institute or centre at postgraduate level, the Centre for Environmental Policy, which looks at a couple of different things in there. Again, life sciences, looking at kind of biology, biotech, all sorts of different things, biochemistry. So again, do go away and have a look at our website and see what kind of courses are at undergraduate and postgraduate level within these kind of departments and within these things. And give you a couple of things from the natural sciences faculty. At undergraduate level, there's a really exciting, it's called a Make a Difference competition, and it's across kind of science, looking at innovative projects, so looking at students within the department, looking at interesting projects kind of cross subject. So a couple of things that people have done more recently, and there is cash prizes involved and kind of funding towards kind of making your idea. So a bat cane, strange name, but looking at a kind of smart cane for people that are visually impaired, machine learning models that help farmers kind of forecast fertilizer and things like that. So some really exciting, really innovative products and projects that people are getting involved in through that. We're also doing some really interesting malaria research, so particularly at kind of postgraduate level, but also kind of feeding into some undergraduate as well. Researchers looking at kind of genetically modifying mosquitoes to kind of stop the spread of malaria. There's lots of funding involved in that. So again, particularly if you're interested in postgraduate research and things, that could be something that is available, but also an interesting thing, even if you're undergraduate, and interesting things happening within the faculty. Medicine, again, very easy at undergraduate level. We have kind of medicine, medical doctor, doctoral training to be a doctor, and we have medical bioscience, so lab-based medicine. So rather than patient-based medicine, that is lab-based medicine program. Postgraduate, a little bit more complex, a lot more kind of things going on. I will mention at this point as well that we do an intercalated year, so it is a 6-year program, but also if students are interested in joining Imperial for that 1-year intercalated program, that is also a possibility. And again, have a look on our website at that sort of thing. I will just mention, I mentioned medical biosciences. It's often called biomedical sciences elsewhere. It's the same thing. Don't let them tell you that it's not. It's the same thing. We call it medical bioscience. Again, very, very innovative program. So we do have kind of industry standard research labs and so you will be in kind of an industry standard lab, working with industry standard equipment, working on real kind of research questions. And you'll spend a year doing a day a week, sorry, in the first 2 years in those labs, working in kind of working pretty much as a biomedical engineer, as a kind of medical bioscientist, sorry. So it is a really exciting, innovative program. Okay, finally, on faculties at the business school, we've got one main undergraduate in the business school, so it's called Economics, Finance and Data Science. That's pretty much the only undergraduate, well, it's the only undergraduate that's taught in the business school. There are some more options. I'm not going to go into them in too much depth, but again, you can see them there on the screen, and do go away, kind of make a note, go away, have a look and Google those kind of things. I'll talk a little bit more about iExplore a little bit later. But there are options, even if you're not studying in the business school at undergraduate, to take modules or years within the business school to kind of supplement and contribute to your kind of wider learning whilst you're there. At postgraduate level, we have MBAs, although they do tend to require kind of management level experience. We also have executive MBAs and things like that. But in terms of master's programs and taught masters, in that sense, in a more traditional sense, there's 4 kind of main areas that you can see on the screen there, where we teach kind of MAs and MScs within the business there as well. So again, go away and have a look. I know, because I think this is cool and exciting and interesting. Business school also does use kind of holographic lecture theatre. So there is a lecture theatre where they can kind of do 3D modelling of various kind of speakers and various things. So they can bring in kind of lecturers and visitor speakings kind of from elsewhere. So kind of enriching your learning experience at both undergraduate and at postgraduate level. Just to mention, just for the postgrads as well, there are a few institutes as well that kind of go across faculty, across departments, so within faculties or kind of separate, and bringing together expertise from different kind of areas. And you can see those on the screen. I'm not going to read them, throw them out for you. And again, so at postgraduate level, it might be something that you're interested in, particularly if you're interested in PhD study or research further. These are kind of research centres that draw in expertise from across Imperial, from across faculties. So again, might be something that's of interest to you there. And I'd encourage you to make a note and go away and do some more research and do some Googling. So just to kind of talk about a few things that we kind of offer. We do have what's called a research-led curriculum. That means that the research that we're doing, that I've talked about, the world-class research we're doing leads directly into our teaching. So the people that are teaching you are also researching, and they're also putting their research into our curriculum, into what you're being taught, even at undergraduate level, and obviously more so at kind of postgraduate level. We have years in industry or years in research on a lot of our undergraduate courses. There's various kind of expeditions and field trips at both undergraduate and postgraduate, and there are study abroad programs. Generally, studying at a university somewhere for a year as part of an undergraduate program. Some opportunities at postgraduate, but generally a lot more at undergraduate for spending a year at another university somewhere in the world. Again, just for the undergraduates, I mentioned I explore earlier. So all of our undergraduate courses, it says it's all of our undergraduate courses now have a credit bearing, so a part of your degree, one module from outside of the subject that you're studying. So that can be in the business school, so business for professional engineers and scientists is quite popular to do that kind of one course. It could be another science-based subject. It could be a project. It could be Imperial Horizons, which is our extracurricular program. So kind of languages, music, various things like that. And it's fully integrated in part of your degree program to kind of broaden your horizons, give you a little bit of a kind of competitive edge in the jobs market when you're kind of looking at that things and expanding your kind of core subjects as well. There's a lot of opportunities, even at undergraduate level, to get involved in research. So generally speaking, it's during the summer. We have kind of both international, so anywhere in the world, and undergraduate research opportunities program, which is based at Imperial, usually in the summer. And again, if you are interested in getting involved in research as an undergraduate, I would encourage you to go away and have a look at those schemes on the website. And they're available for all of our students. For postgraduates, again, there's loads of different training involved. So you can kind of get involved in our graduate school, and there's different kind of tailored workshops. So whether you're looking to go into research, whether you're looking to kind of just improve your research skills, there's a year-round program of kind of seminars and help for you whilst you're studying with us at Imperial. There are also some departmental teaching opportunities and kind of graduate teaching and career development for PhD students. So if you're interested in going into research, if you're interested in working in academia in the future, there's various schemes, and we can help you through that process and through the graduate kind of school. So the early career research program there. If you're not interested in research as an undergraduate or as a postgraduate, we are an incredibly entrepreneurial university. So there's loads of different schemes. I could spend the next kind of 10 minutes talking all about those. I'm not going to, don't worry. But loads of our students get involved in various enterprise kind of schemes. So we've got an enterprise lab that supports with kind of mentoring. It supports with access to kind of experts and various other kind of things. Helps launch lots of kind of schemes and various other things. We've got prototyping hackspace, which is open to all students as well. So you can go in there to develop kind of prototypes. And again, there is assistance involved in that. If you kind of are unfamiliar with equipment, that is kind of fully supported in there as well. I've mentioned the Make a Difference competition. We also have the largest kind of annual competition, largest in terms of funding of any UK university kind of entrepreneurship competition as well. to give you some stats to back that up. So we do have had kind of 284 startups raising over £800 million over the last kind of few years. And that does kind of carry on post-Imperial and things as well, and various spin-outs and different things. So an incredibly entrepreneurial university. So if you do have that kind of idea and that drive, then that is certainly something that we can help support with. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier. These are mostly undergraduate focused figures, although very similar for postgraduate programs. There's various events throughout the year. So from the moment you start Imperial, you can get involved with the career service. There'll be kind of alumni engagement through kind of various mentoring programs. There's various kind of events and fairs on campus. And 90% of our surveyed applicants are in highly skilled employment or further study just over a year after graduating. But we do have tailored support. So again, if you know exactly what you want to do, then we can support you. If you want kind of more advice and guidance, we can also support with that at undergraduate and at postgraduate level. And just on that kind of, and again, I don't like to name drop too many kind of organizations, because obviously it varies a little bit year by year, and it can kind of be a little bit different. But just to mention some, Dyson, GSK, you can see there, IBM and Meta, AstraZeneca, these are kind of some of the industry partners that we work with at the moment, and probably most likely into the future. So I mentioned on medical biosciences, for example, there's kind of various industry placements. One of those is with AstraZeneca and various other things. So again, there's various collaborations, but this is true of all departments, all subjects, and loads of different kind of businesses. Just to mention as well, it's not all kind of work. Obviously, Imperial is a world-class university, and most people, you'll probably want to be coming to study with us for that kind of academic impact. But we have something like 370, I think it says there, over 350 different kind of sports, clubs, societies, kind of activities, things to get involved in outside of your studies. And you will have time to be able to do that as well. So everything from kind of cultural societies, so, you know, Turkish society, to kind of shared interests, a cappella, to kind of sporting teams at various levels. So whether you want to kind of, you know, play sport at a very high level against other universities, or you want to play for a more kind of social sports, then there's opportunities to get involved in all sorts of different things whilst you're a student with us as well. If you are performing at an elite kind of level at the moment, there is also kind of performance programs which will offer kind of coaching, particularly strength and conditioning coaching, and things like that. There's also, as I said, various levels of kind of competitive sport, from kind of relatively kind of social to playing at relatively high national level against other universities. And we do have an annual inter-Imperial kind of varsity competition, so the School of Medicine against the rest of Imperial. It's quite a fun occasion, so you can get involved in that sort of thing as well. Okay, in terms of where you're going to be living, varies. So I'll talk a little bit about undergraduate. Again, this is just an overview, so do go away and do your own research and have a look into this in more detail. Most of our students tend to choose to live in Imperial accommodation in their first year, and we guarantee accommodation for that first year. There's various different halls, even some in South Kensington and some out kind of near the White City campus, as well as a few others around as well. Fully secure, and there's support teams involved as well. So the support teams there to kind of help out, as well as security and things like that. After that, most students tend to move out into private accommodation, and we can assist with that as well in various different ways that you can see on the screen there. From kind of Imperial Home Solutions, so it's a property search website, to kind of guarantees and kind of helping with kind of various other contract checking and things like that. So there's loads of different ways we can help find private accommodation as well. That's also true for postgraduate students. So that was mostly undergraduates. For postgraduates, we've got 2 grad pad sites across London. So one next to White City, one near the South Kensington campus. And again, the same student hub. So the same kind of support for finding housing in the private sector, should you prefer to do that. So again, we will kind of support you, whatever you decide to live, wherever you decide to live at Imperial. And we will support you in other ways as well. Again, this slide is pretty much just to highlight the fact that there is support available in every different way. So whether you run into academic issues, whether you run into kind of accommodation, financial issues, whether you run into kind of any type of issue at Imperial, it is a really supportive environment. It is a really highly academic environment, but it's also really supportive. We want to support you to do the very best that you can. And so there is loads of support at undergraduate and at postgraduate level to help you through that as well. I'm not going to go into them in loads of depth. There is also dedicated international support as well from the very first week. So there's welcome stuff specifically for international students. We welcome at postgraduate level, lots of international. So I think at undergraduate level, we're about 60% UK, about 40%. I think it's roughly reversed for postgraduate study. So roughly 50-50 in terms of international to UK students. So we've got loads of support and loads of experience in supporting international students as well. Right, the fun bit, and talking about kind of entry requirements and that sort of thing as well. Minimum entry requirements for undergraduate level. So we're looking at the equivalent of the IB, 38 to 41 overall. So it depends on the subject. Normally, our offers will specify at least one, if not two, higher level subjects as well. And again, if you have a look on the website, you'll be able to find out the exact entry requirements for your particular subject for what you want to study. But generally, our minimum entry standard will be between 38 and 41 points overall, including 6s or 7s in relevant higher level subjects. And again, we do specify those. So have a look on our website for that. And in terms of the personal statement, what we're looking for, I always say there's kind of 3 things to write. I know it changes slightly for next year, but we're still looking for the same 3 things, which is what you want to study, what subject you want to study, why you want to study that subject. So what is it about that subject that you find interesting, that you want to do? And thirdly, what are you doing about that interest? Particularly, what are you doing outside of your current studies, outside of your current program? What are you doing to kind of further your knowledge, your understanding, your interest in that particular subject area? And that can be lots of different things, from kind of, online lectures, online courses, personal reading, personal projects, to organise competitions, to work experience, and various other different things. And again, loads of advice on our website. Masters, a little bit different. We are looking for exactly the same thing in a personal statement, but think a lot more about why that particular course. You are applying to that course specifically at Imperial. You apply directly through our website, unlike undergraduates where you apply through a centralized system called UCAS. Postgraduate, you apply directly to us. So why do you want to do that particular course at Imperial? You can be a lot more focused on and a lot more kind of directed towards that particular course at Imperial. Be aware that there may be kind of separate things involved, but generally speaking, you can apply for up to 2 courses at postgraduate level. In terms of entry requirements, generally speaking, a good first degree with honours. Again, if you have a look at our website, you can find specific, but we do accept kind of Turkish university qualifications. So do have a look. And if you have any questions, contact our admissions team. I realise I'm nearly out of time. So I'm going to skip these a little bit, but I can go back to them if anyone's got any questions. We do, for undergraduate study, for a lot of our subjects, we require you to do an additional application test. We use kind of a few. So for medicine, we use UCAT. But generally speaking, the other subjects we tend to use the ESAT, engineering and science. We use the TMUA for maths-based subjects, so maths and computing, generally speaking. And I think economics, finance, and data science as well. Again, do look into those. And everyone will ask me about scholarships. Generally speaking, for international undergraduate students, there is not loads at undergraduate level, but there are some, including departmental specific ones. So have a look at our scholarships finder. There is more at postgraduate level, but again, a lot of it tends to be kind of subject or kind of region specific. So have a look at our scholarships finder on the website. And there's also links from that to external scholarships. So kind of not linked to Imperial, that are worth looking at. There's also an alternative guide to funding on there as well. We do have an undergraduate IB scholarship as well. So again, have a look at that if you are interested. I only went 1 minute over which I think is pretty good for me. If anyone has seen any of my webinars or presentations, 1 minute over is pretty good. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. As I said, I didn't go into anything in a lot of detail there, so it was designed to just be an overview. So I will try and attempt to answer as many questions as I can in the next 15 minutes. Aside from kind of scores and grades, what's the most critical thing to being selected for Imperial? I think it's what I was just talking about. So I think we are looking at high academic grades. We're looking at grades, we're looking at performance in tests, and we're looking at kind of interview performance if we do interview. But we are also looking at what you're doing outside of kind of school. So what you're doing as well as the high grades, what else are you doing? So that could be as simple as what are you reading? That could be, you know, what projects are you doing just because you really love that subject you're really interested in. It could be work experience. It doesn't have to be. It could be work experience. It could be online courses that you're doing. But anything that you're doing to kind of develop your knowledge of that subject because you're really interested in it. I think there was another question that I saw. And somebody saying that despite having kind of very high academic grades, they weren't offered a place at Imperial. Is it possible to get feedback? It's always worth emailing the admissions team, but generally speaking, a lot of it is down to that. Most of it, in fact, all of our applicants pretty much, so everyone that applies will usually have at least the minimum grade requirements. So we do use a lot of other things, including admissions tests, including kind of various other things. It's not always possible to give individual feedback, but it's always worth asking the question. So yeah, do email our admissions teams to find out. Cool. In terms of PhD research, where can you kind of go from there? I didn't touch on PhDs too much because we could be here all week. In terms of PhDs, generally speaking, I would say that have a look on departmental websites. It does take a bit of time, but you need to kind of find and approach a researcher. So somebody that is doing research in your area is generally speaking the way forward. So do have a look on departmental websites and find somebody that is doing similar research and then approach them about kind of coming to do a PhD with us. There are some advertised ones. Generally, they will be on our jobs pages at Imperial. So they'll be kind of fully funded research programs where you get less choice over what it is that you want to do. There is funding already in place to kind of or do a research project in the science. So again, have a look at the jobs pages on the website. But again, if you approach the department directly, you may be able to kind of find somebody to help with that. Tips for writing a strong personal statement. I think I've covered some of that. So again, it's looking at what you're doing outside of your subject area. So what are you doing about your interest in mechanical engineering or physics or science or maths? What are you doing outside of school? Show that you're interested in that. That is kind of the big question. What are you doing about your interest? What are you getting involved in? And it doesn't have to be loads of different things. Doing one or two interesting things and going into a little bit more depth is probably better than telling us everything that you've ever done. So, you know, are you entering a maths competition? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why did you decide to enter? What are you finding interesting? What have you learned? It's more interesting to go into a little bit more depth on one or two interesting things than it is listing everything that you do. Biological science and management program. It is both is it 2 or 3 years? Both. 3 or 4 years, sorry. So the first 2 years is the same. You can either do 2 years of bioscience and then a year of management, or you can do the full 3 years of bioscience and then a year of management. So it's whether you want a kind of bioscience and management undergraduate degree kind of together, or whether you want the full bioscience program and then a kind of management year on top of that. That was easy. I should have done that one first. Thank you very much. I organise careers fairs. Yes, so I don't, but yes, Imperial has loads of careers fairs. So subject specific ones and also kind of large ones as well. So, you know, effectively, yes, there's loads of careers fairs, from massive ones to kind of smaller, more specialist ones, to some that students organise themselves, to various other things. But yes, there's loads of careers fairs, there's loads of guidance. we've got an amazing careers team who will be able to support you from the moment that you step onto campus, either as an undergraduate or as a master's student. So somebody completed the Lise Diplomasi, the Turkish qualification, Turkish high school diploma. Generally speaking, it is not accepted for undergraduate study at Imperial, is my understanding. Do contact our admissions teams to check for the particular course you're interested in. But generally speaking, we do not accept the Turkish high school qualification. So we would need something like IBs or A-levels or APs in order to accept you onto an undergraduate program. It might also be worth looking at foundation programs. We don't offer any, but we do accept the UCL and the Warwick Foundation programs as well. Again, if you have any questions about that, contact our admissions team directly. So let's cover those two. So what's the minimum score for IB? I did mention at 38 and the minimum. And 38 is the minimum of some subjects. It varies by subject, so do have a look at subject pages. But between 38 and 41 is the minimum. And generally speaking, specific higher level subjects, most of our subjects, for example, will ask for higher level math in IB. But again, have a look at subject pages and you'll be able to see. Some programs say 70% independent study. So yes, in terms of kind of self-study, a lot of programs do involve a lot of self-study. So you may only be on campus using facilities and kind of have access to kind of lecturers, particularly on kind of one-on-one and things for a few hours a week, and the rest of the time you may be kind of, you know, studying independently, so working kind of independently. Again, it varies a little bit by subject. To touch on what you say there about kind of, you know, the kind of fees. So fees do vary by subject area, but you are paying for access to kind of, you know, world-class facilities, world-class learning, world-class kind of direction, and a kind of Imperial qualification at the end of it. But there is a lot of self-study involved in a lot of UK courses and UK universities. So, you know, there might be kind of online modules, online courses, and there might be kind of, you know, reading in order to kind of prepare for labs, for projects, for research, kind of things like that. So there is a lot of kind of independent study involved in most of our courses. I don't know if we're going to get to the end of these, but we'll keep going. After graduating from Imperial, are there events? Yes, we have alumni events all over the world. So one thing is you're always welcome at our Alumni Visitor Centre. So if you're ever in London, we've got a space where you can come and you can work and you can have meetings and you can kind of, hang out, say hello, drink some coffee and have a kind of quiet space. So you're always welcome on campus for as long as for whenever you happen to be in London. But there's also events all around the world. So our alumni team organise events, and local alumni networks will also put on events all over the world. So yes, there's loads of different things. There's also mentorship programs with current students. So our alumni come back and then talk to our current students about their industries, about various things that are kind of going on as well. So I think I've answered the international students. So there's loads of different things for international students, from kind of clubs and societies, from the international support team to help kind of specifically. There's also kind of, as I said, alumni networks and various other kind of events and things, both specifically for international students, but also career support for all students from everywhere. So admissions tests for science. So for most of our science subjects, so not the life sciences, but most of our other science use what we call the ESAT, so the engineering and science admissions test. So for all of our admissions tests, you will kind of register. You'll take that test wherever you are in the world. There's hundreds and thousands and loads of test centres. I can't remember the exact number, probably hundreds, I would have thought. I very much doubt it's in the thousands. But there are test centres all over the world. So you'll go on the day of the test to your local test centre and you'll take the test there. The results will get sent through to us and we'll look at that alongside your application. So different subjects will ask for kind of different bits of different tests. But generally speaking, there'll be a kind of maths component and a kind of science component to most of those tests. So it's just another way for us to look at applicants and kind of look at applicants against each other. Okay. So scholarships I did talk about. So again, undergraduate, international undergraduate, there are some, but they tend to be departmental specific. Postgraduate, there tends to be a few more, but again, they tend to be quite departmental specific. So again, have a look on our website, have a look at our scholarships finder or scholarship search function, and you can filter on that by undergraduate or postgraduate and by the department you're interested in, whether you're a home student or international student, all of that sort of thing, and you can see what is available for this coming year. And do keep checking back if you are looking next year. Our scholarships do change year on year as well, so do have a look at our website and see what's available. How many Turkish students were accepted during the year? I knew someone was going to ask this and I completely forgot to have a look. You drop me an email afterwards and I can probably tell you. But we do have a good number of Turkish students both apply and come to Imperial every single year at undergraduate and at postgraduate level. But if you drop me an email afterwards, I'll probably be able to look that up for you and give you exact figures for last year. But we do have a good number of Turkish students every single year. In terms of APs, somebody's asked for AP and SAT. We don't take SATs, so we don't look at we do look at SATs, but we don't make an offer on the basis of SATs. For APs, we are generally looking at a minimum of 3 APs at 5. Again, there'll be specific requirements for each subject area. So if you go onto any of our course pages, if you look at the entry requirements section, there'll be a bit that says kind of other qualifications. So I think it's normally A levels, IB, and then other qualifications. If you look at that bit, you can have a look and you can kind of say international qualifications, APs, and it will tell you exactly what we're looking for. But generally speaking, 3 5s at AP. Okay. Is there a summer program? It is. I will put details of that in the chat in 2 seconds. So we do have global summer school. It is paid for summer school, and I will put the details of it in the chat straight after this. So yes. Admission rates for computer engine. So the B engine computing. The engine computing, I believe, is off the top of my head around about 11. No, but I think about 11 applications per place. Although don't quite me. Have a look at the web page. It will say in a box at the top on the course page, it will say applications per place for last year's admission cycle. So it will tell you on there the exact ratio. I think it's 11 to 1, but I might have made that up. So don't trust me on that. Have a look on the website. In terms of seats available for international students, we don't have quotas except for medicine, where it's set by the UK government. We don't have quotas. We do have kind of preferred numbers of offers made to international students, but it varies by subject and by year and various other things. But on an individual application basis, we won't look at fee status to make that decision, but we will kind of have a number of offers made to international students every year. So it's not as kind of strict as having a strict number of seats for international students. More APs, does that help? To a certain extent, yes. It kind of depends on what else you're doing. But generally speaking, if you are doing more APs, if you're doing anything related to the subject, that can be useful. If you're just doing loads of different APs, then I would probably say spending that time doing something more related to your subject outside of school, so whether that's competitions, reading, whatever it may be, is probably more beneficial. Okay. So alongside the ESAT, what are the tests? We don't look at SATs, as I mentioned on a previous question. In terms of what's required for international students, we may also ask for English language tests, which I didn't really mention. Depends what you studied previously. For undergraduates, you don't need that by the time you apply. For postgraduates, you don't need it by the time you apply, although we generally prefer you to have met our English language requirements. So whether that's IELTS or a different test or things like that. But in terms of kind of other academic tests, we only ask kind of the ESAT generally, but we will also ask for English language qualifications as well. People keep asking more questions. I know, I'm racing through. Every time I thought I was near the end. So for medical students, IB requirements, we are looking at 38 overall. Oh, I've got to remember this off the top of my head. 38 overall, including 6 in high-level chemistry and 6 in high-level biology. We don't have any pre-sessional courses available, so we don't really do any pre-sessional courses. We do a pre-sessional English course, but that is not for kind of academic entry, so you need to have met our English language requirements already. But we do offer a pre-sessional English course, which does allow you to kind of build your English, particularly kind of academic English skills. We don't really offer pre-sessional courses. Participation in the summer school give you an advantage in acceptance? Yes and no. No, in terms of if you come in the summer school, that doesn't kind of flag up on our system, or that doesn't give you any kind of advantage in terms of application. But given what I was saying earlier, one of the things that does give you an advantage is doing something related to your subject area. So, you know, spending a summer at a world-class university, focusing on the subject that you want to go and study at undergraduate is a really useful thing. So it doesn't have to be the Imperial Summer School. Ours is exceptional, obviously, but it is a paid-for kind of program, and officially, kind of there's no kind of official way of doing it. So any kind of summer school, anything you're doing to kind of further your interest in your subject is a really good thing. So yes and no is the short answer. Final question. I knew I shouldn't have left a question on financing right to the end. In terms of the fee structures, yes, the fee structure is very different for UK students and for international students. And it is something that a lot of UK universities are kind of looking at. It's a big thing over here at the moment. And as I said earlier, it is something that Imperial is specifically looking at. So do keep looking back in terms of scholarships, in terms of funding opportunities for students from all over the world. It is something that we are aware of, and something that we are doing more and more every year to try and help as many students come and study with us that are kind of academically able to as possible. So, yeah, thank you very much. No open questions. Oh, one person got a question right at the end. Okay, I am about to wrap it up. Is applied to a government school score? Generally speaking, no. So we are looking at IB/APs. Again, have a look at our website for particular courses and what qualifications we accept for all of those. Okay, that was the end of the questions. I said I was going to put I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Yes, thank you very much for the great presentation. And then we had a lot of questions. You covered all of them. Thank you for your answers as well. Also, could you please share an email address on the chat box? So if the participants had further questions, they can get in touch with you later.
Yes, I can. Can't spell. Level summer school.
Thank you very much again. Also, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Umarım sizin için de faydalı bir webinar olmuştur. Imperial College London ile ilgili diğer bütün sorularınız için chat kısmında paylaşmış olan mail adresinden Andy ile iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Bir sonraki webinarlarımızda görüşmek üzere. Thank you very much again, Andy. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFTalks.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, hope to hear from everyone soon. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.